My name is Marr Nyang and I work for Gambia Participates. So I first acknowledge the work that has been done by the Republic in piercing the veil of the lack of transparency surrounding the disposal of Jammeh assets, and then also obviously said the Jammeh Commission's report give us a starting point to understand what actually happened when it comes to Jammeh's assets, how many assets he owns, where they are, and those that were responsible for the coordination, right? Now, I also obviously acknowledge the work of Gala, because if there was no publication of the Republic, there would not have been Gala. And government also should not be quick to criticize investigative journalism reports, including what you also do at Askanwi. When investigative journalists bring out facts or make their investigative reports known, instead of criticizing, let's look at the substance of their findings, acknowledge where there are weaknesses, and then address it. Because when the Republic report came out, the first thing that we saw from the government, or we had from the government, was criticizing the report. And then a movement was established, Gala. A protest was done countrywide. Everyone had the same interest. The common interest was, we need you to publish the list. And eventually, government published it. After the publication as well, we've seen the National Assembly establish a special select committee. Now, after a couple of months, I believe 9 months of investigation, the National Assembly's report is available to the public. But beyond acknowledging the work of the National Assembly, beyond acknowledging the work of the media, including the Republic, Gala, and all the actors, including the government and then also the Commission of Inquiry, beyond the numbers that have been revealed by the National Assembly, beyond the findings of the National Assembly, what next? I guess this is the most important part of us going beyond the establishment of truth. We establish the truth, then what follows next is accountability. We've seen time without numbers that commissions make their recommendations known, advanced findings were reported against certain individuals. Government obviously, in certain instances, put those findings and recommendations aside for political expediency. This is a circle and a lifestyle that the government is building in order to expand their vulnerability to be defrauded by corrupt officials. Because if corrupt officials defraud the government and there's no accountability, you open up the floodgates for them to do more corrupt actions. Government has its national development plan. There's no way that they can achieve this national development plan goals if they don't remove the barrier, which is corruption. Now, it's understandable that they can criticize journalists and media like Republic and Askanwi, but one thing that they cannot criticize is the findings of the National Assembly Select Committee, because it comprises of the ruling party, independent members, and then also the opposition. So this is not the moment for us to play politics. This is a bipartisan process. The findings are independent and they're neutral. So we expect the government to do what is expected of them now as an executive. The citizens have done their part through investigation and also protest and calling for accountability. The National Assembly have done their part. Now the only part that is missing in the puzzle is the government initiating accountability and reform initiatives so that we can achieve the greater goal. The court also have a role to play, but the court cannot bring cases to itself. The cases have to come from the state, because most of these cases will be criminal cases. And in our laws, we as citizens cannot litigate criminal cases. That lies under the shoulders of the state. So that is my call. And the objective of this two-day review exercise is to dissect what has been established by the National Assembly, right? And then also look at other relevant documents for us to make a unified CS opposition. This is not a Gambia Participate process. This is not a Gambia Participate report. And I want to make that very clear. It is collectively done by civil society, and our goal is a is that of a common one, which is we want, obviously, the reforms that have been recommended through legal reforms, policy and institutional reforms, but most importantly as well, for accountability to be initiated. We cannot continue to consume reports, read reports, and if we are asked, what did the government do about accountability, the question marks keeps hanging our head.